my travel peeps, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do a question and answer video. I have some questions here on my phone and I'm kind of just going to like go through them one by one. It's a good amount, almost 20 questions that I've kind of just like gathered from the comments on my channel. So I'm just going to shoot through some of these and hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Get some water. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into it. And the first question says, what are the requirements to become a travel agent? Okay, so this depends, right? So when it comes to requirements, first, there's two things. Well, there's a few things, but you don't necessarily need like a degree or a certification or something like that in order to just get started in the business. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't? That's your decision, right? That's going to depend on if you are one of those people who can go out there and learn things and figure out things on their own, or if you're one of those people who needs like a packaged step-by-step type of educational process in order to achieve something. So that's going to depend on you. But when it comes to requirements, you do have to have credentials. So whether that's IATA or TRU or with CLIA, whichever one you want to use, you do need those credentials. And so there's two different ways that you can do it. You can either get the credentials on your own, which would make you like your own agency. So you won't have a host agency. Or you can work under a host agency. And so working under a host agency allows you to use that agency's credentials so that you can still travel. Now, on top of that, and if you do have a host agency, they will inform you of this too. Like, there's certain states require you to have like a seller's permit or something like that to sell travel in their state. So if you're going to be selling to people who live in those states, then you will also need to obtain those requirements or permits as well. So you really just have to do the research when it comes to one. Do you want to run your business as its own entity, as its own travel agency, not working under a host? I don't really say what it is being an independent agent. And so some people can get that confused because you're technically an independent contractor when you work under a host agency as well. So that you don't get confused, when I say independent agency, that means you don't work under a host company. Your business is a travel agency. It has its own credentials and it can operate without a host agency. So that's one way. And then the second, like I said, is to work under a host. So you have to decide where's your commitment in this, right? What do you see yourself doing long term? How long do you see yourself doing this? Just my own advice and what I would say, I'm not even going to say advice, but my own opinion. Remember to always do your own research, because I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just giving you my opinions and you can take them or leave them. So if you were like, you want this to be like a long-term business, right? If this is going to be more than a hobby to you, then I would recommend obtaining your own credentials. And I'll also say this, don't feel like you have to do it right off the bat. Now, it's great to be able to set your business up right from the jump. But what I've learned and through my experience, in my opinion, is that it's been actually beneficial to me somewhat. It's been beneficial in some aspect or another to start out with the host agency, because if you choose the right host agency, they're going to give you at least some guidance. It might not be a ton, I'm going to be honest, but it just depends on the company that you go with. So that way you have kind of like a support system. Even just to give you an example, in my host agency, in the beginning, I did watch a lot of videos that they had on our platform, but say that's not enough to like really get you to know everything that you need to know. They still provided us with different programs that we could take, at an additional cost, different companies who offer traveling industry education, things like that. And then one of the most important things I think is the forums that they have on there. So that's where everybody who's a travel agent under that My Host, there's forums to where you can go and ask questions. You can discuss different things. So in the event that you come upon things that you don't know or you haven't dealt with in your travel agency, there's somebody that you can go to. So if you're operating without a host right from the jump, you won't have that kind of support system or people that you can go to in order to overcome whatever challenges you're facing or things you may not know. So I think that is like one of the most important things about starting your business. Either you started with, because there's different programs out there. Either you started with a travel program that's going to break it down, how to run your business, how to sell in the business, all of those things and running the business. If you're taking a course that's going to walk you through everything, then cool, because I'm sure those programs hopefully have some type of group setting or one-on-one setting to where you can ask whoever's running that program different questions and things like that in case you need the support. So I feel like that's one of the most valuable things with having a host, because you don't have to always stay with your host. And so obviously I started with my host, but of course my goal is to be an independent agency, and that should be done by the end of this year. So that's up to you. Okay, I hope that answered the question, because sometimes I can ramble a little bit. So yeah, that's basically the requirements. You have to have credentials, whether you obtain them on your own or you use a host agency's credentials, and then you just work under them, and you're typically gonna pay a fee for that. So like mine, just to give you an example, is I pay a monthly fee to be a part of my host agency. And I think getting started, I think I might have paid like maybe an additional $50 in like the yearly requirements or licenses that you have in those certain states. So again, do your research on that. I'll even leave some links that are helpful so you guys can do research on your own too. Because the biggest thing with running your own business, especially in the travel industry, is research. It's so much that you need to research, and you'll never stop researching in this business. Okay, so the second question is, how do I get started in the travel industry? That's pretty much the same question as before. So how do you get started? Do some research. Again, I'll leave, because there's a review, like a host agency review website that you can go and read the different reviews about different hosts and things like that. So getting started is basically just doing the research on, do you want to start on your own or do you want to have a host? And then researching what host you want to use. And then once you do that, and I would talk to a few different host agencies, because you can kind of get a feel for if they are a good company based off, are they responding to your questions? Or is it taking a long time to get a hold of them? Just the communication, and they should be able to guide you on the steps to getting started in the industry, depending on the host agency you choose, okay? And then also you can visit some links that I mentioned, but pretty much the same question from before. Okay, next question. Do I need a travel agent certification to start working? I already answered that too, so we'll keep going. How can I find the travel agent training programs? Okay, so there are a few travel agent trainings out there, and I'll leave y'all some links to, I'm gonna have to remember all the links I'm saying I'm gonna leave or I'll forget. So I'm gonna leave you to some links that I would recommend. So I'm not gonna recommend anybody who I'm not familiar with, or I haven't taken their courses or anything like that. So I'm gonna leave probably my top two, and I'll just go ahead and tell you who they are. The first one, when I first, got into the industry, started doing my research, a lot of the videos I watched was Cindy Williams. She has a travel school, and when you take that, it does give you some type of certification at the end of the course. I didn't take it because it was too pricey for me at the time, and I'm just one of those people who I can figure it out. It might take me a little longer, but I can watch all the videos on the internet that is available, even if it's 200 videos. I'm gonna do the research. So it just wasn't attainable for me at that time. But I don't discredit taking a course, because at the end of the day, when you're paying for a course, you're paying to skip all the mistakes and reach success a little quicker. So that's, your own prerogative. And then the other person that I found along the way was Shanteria, and her website is askshanteria.com, I believe, but I'll leave a link to that in the below. but she is somebody who I have learned a lot from. And I haven't bought her course, but I did pay for the monthly membership. So a part of the travel game. And so I feel like, you know, you have to do your own research, be honest with yourself on what type of person you are. But like I said, having a system or learning from other people who've already been through where you are with years of experience, that is just going to propel you a lot faster. And, you know, it's just helpful in that way, if that makes sense. And then also there are like the national travel education platforms and things like that. I'll leave the link to that below too. This eyelash is really sticking to my bottom lash line. Okay, so next, how do I gain experience in the travel industry? So to gain experience, there's a few things. One, we already talked about it. You can take a training. That's what you want to do. Another way to gain experience is by getting out there and getting experience. So we all have to start somewhere, right? And so the sooner you start booking, the sooner you start getting your business going, talking to vendors, taking trainings. I mean, that's how you're going to get the experience that you need in order to feel comfortable doing this and then to learn. I mean, you're going to make mistakes. I hope that you don't make any financial mistakes when it comes to your clients' money and things like that. So be very diligent and take your time and really be particular when you're like running payments and doing anything when you're starting to book clients, because you don't want to make those kind of hiccups. Just to give you so I'm trying to think of, I have a friend and she had this big hiccup to where the people couldn't get on their, actually I don't think that was her fault, but they couldn't travel to their cruise because they didn't have their passport or something like that. And they had like driven to the port, which was like 2 hours away from their home. And so things like that, you don't want to impede on someone's travel once they've trusted you to book their vacation. So, but the best experience is, you know, just getting out there and doing it. So that's just it. Like, do as much research as you can, watch as many YouTube videos as you can, find mentors, that type of thing. That's how you're going to gain the experience that you need. So don't be afraid to just start. Okay, next question. What types of travel can I specialize in as a travel agent? Now, this is you know, this question, it could be anything, you know. There's so many different options and categories that you can specialize in. You can choose, right? Sometimes definitely choose something that you're passionate about. For me, I do all-inclusives because I love all-inclusives and I do the Caribbean. I don't really care to travel to Greece or all these other places. But what I will tell you is that once you start your business, once you start growing your business and, you know, it's you know, you're growing it, at some point you're going to have to take what your clients want into consideration and not just what you're passionate about. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen to me because I do like all-inclusives and I feel like there is a big enough need or demand for all-inclusive travel. So hopefully this doesn't happen to me, but you may come upon a time when maybe you really like all-inclusives, but your clients are only booking cruises, right? So you might have to look at your business model and change that. And maybe you should sell cruises, or maybe you should sell Italy. Like after you start growing your business and you have, you know, a few trips and clients under your belt, you should start to see a pattern. And then if you don't, you should start to poll the people that you have on your list and your clients and ask them, hey, you know, where would you like to go this year? Or where, you know, where's one of your dream destinations? So that you can kind of, because there should be a pattern, right? Especially when you're targeting a certain demographic. And that way you'll know if you should stay on the path that you're on or if you need to switch some things up. So yeah, to answer that question, there's a lot of different things that you can specialize in. And the more that you break that down, the more that you target that and really niche down, that's what I was looking for, the more likely you are to be successful. So just to give you some off the top of my head, like you could do accessible travel. So that's like, you know, handicap travel or people with special needs, things like that. You could do families, people who have kids. You can even break that down to families who have teenagers or families who have toddlers, families who have newborns. You know, when you really niche it down like that, that's going to help you grow a lot faster because you're targeting an exact person, which I've talked about in other videos. I'm trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head. just you could basically do any type of destination, whether you want it to be in the Caribbean or maybe you want to sell Africa. There's different things that maybe you want to sell safaris. And then I'm trying to give y'all some really good ideas so that you can really understand what it means to niche down. So you can even break it down to maybe you want to sell group trips or individual trips to people who are in the medical field, or maybe people who are hairstylists. Like, you can really target certain groups and like make that your thing. So next question. How do I become an expert in a particular type of travel? Research. You got to do the research. And then you got to travel, right? So you can't, expect to be a expert in a category that maybe you've never experienced, right? The best way to sell something is to have personally experienced it, used it, and loved whatever it is, whether that's a product or a service, right? So that's my answer for that. Next question, what are the benefits of becoming a travel agent? I look at this question different ways, because I think about it in the sense of the benefits for me becoming a travel agent is that I wanted freedom, right? I wanted time freedom. I wanted financial freedom. I want to make this my full-time business so that, I can do what I want to do, in a sense, and by do what I want to do, I mean work. Because when you're running your own business, a lot of time, especially when you're working a full-time job, even when you're not working a full-time job, this is going to take up majority of your time, right? So it's not like, oh, I wanted to start this business because, I really don't want to do nothing. I want to sit at home. No, when I'm at home, whether it's a day that I have to go to work or it's a day that I'm not, I'm still up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes even before that, making sure that, my routine stays consistent, and all day I'm working on my business. So it's not like you choose to do this because you really don't want to work hard. No, when you own a business, you're always gonna, hopefully nobody takes this offensively, but when you own your own business, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna work harder than you would have at a 9 to 5. That's just my experience, and from what I hear from other entrepreneurs, that's kind of universal. Okay, I think I'm losing where I was. What I've become an expert. Okay, we answered that question. Okay, so what are the benefits? We talked about that. Oh, let me also say, of course, there's the benefits of, one, you make money off of your own travel. So and I'm sure other people have already cleared this up. You rarely, especially in the beginning of your business, will be able to travel just for free. And so a lot of companies or vendors will offer fam trips to where you can go. It stands for familiarity or something like that. It's some kind of familiarity. I think that's what the FAM stands for. I don't think I'm making that up. But it's just so you can go and experience, whether that's a cruise, whether it's Carnival, Virgin, all-inclusives, whatever. It's so that they'll pay for you to go and experience the whatever it is that you're selling, so that you can better sell it. And so once you really start making sales and the vendors see that like you're really doing big numbers, you'll start to get those fam trip requests or whatever. So that is a perk. I'm trying to think if there's another perk. I'll tell you my perks and how I feel about it. One, I think that once this becomes full time for me, I'm going to just be living my best life, because I love going to all-inclusives. I love being in beach destinations. And even when I transition full-time, I'm still gonna be working when I go do those places. But how fun is that to be able to go on a vacation and working is getting content, So whether that is filming the resort or, whatever. I just feel like that is gonna be such a big perk for me personally. Okay, let's see. Get some water. Okay, next question. How do I find clients for my travel agency? So I'm just gonna give you a couple options, because I feel like this would have to be like a whole video. So just a few ways you can find some clients as a travel agent. One, I'm gonna say this, but I don't really agree. I did start out this way too. Friends and family. Now, why I'm hesitant to say that is because nine times out of 10, Your friends and family is not going to be your target audience once you really niche that down. But hopefully you have some friends and family who want to support you, whether they're your demographic or not, and they just want to support you. And then that way you can kind of get your feet wet with bookings and things like that without the pressure of, oh my gosh, like if I mess this up, you know, these people might kill me. At least if it's your family or friends, they're going to give you a little leeway, hopefully. I know working with family can be a lot harder, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to take off some of that pressure to not mess things up. So one way when you're first starting out is to definitely use friends and family. And then just some more practical ways to find clients, obviously social media, right? This is 2023. You got to be on social media. That's just what it is. You have to be on social media. You have to post consistently so that you can get your brand name out there so that people know that you exist. Because if they don't know you even have a business or you do this, then of course you're never going to get clients. So you do want to do social media. Another one, if you want to do this, is partnering with local businesses in your area. So if it's your hairstylist, you know, ask her if you can leave some cards on your next appointment so that, you know, her clients that she has can see, you know, the business that you offer. And then maybe like give her some kind of kickback or something like that, you know, like a referral program. Word of mouth. So friends and family, ask them to spread the word, ask them to share your profiles that you have on social media, things like that. Trying to think of some new ways for y'all. Mainly social media. And there's ways that you have to go about doing that, but we won't get into that in this video. But how you should find clients, definitely when you're starting out, because it's free, is social media. You can really utilize social media without having to spend so much money. Don't worry about spending money on ads, because you need to really figure out your audience. You need to get to know them. You need to know what they want, how to speak to them before you start investing your money into paid ads. So that's just a couple ways in how you can find some clients. Next question, how can I market my travel agency effectively? So I was going to say this is a generic question, but because they said effectively, that means something. So to effectively market your travel agency, in my opinion, is that you need to know your audience. You need to, and by that I mean you need to know, are they male or female? Are they both? How old are they? Where do they live? Where do they work? What kind of job do they have? What do they like to do on the weekends? What type of brands do they shop? You want to know all of that in order to effectively market your business. Because if you don't do those things, you won't know how to connect with them, right? There are brands that I see all the time, and it never like triggers my mind to, oh, I want to buy that. Or, you know, I'll just keep scrolling right on past because it doesn't connect with me. So just to give you an example of that, I'm the type of person that I'll shop at like Zara, all the places that have like basic items. Like when y'all see me in these videos, 9 times out of 10, I'm in workout clothes, because I'm not that like fashionista that likes to dress up all the time. I like to say that I have a very basic sense of life. Like I like nude colors. I don't like a lot of color in my wardrobe, things like that. So you just got to really know your audience in order to effectively market your travel agency. And you want to make sure, like I said, that you're on social media, that you're using social media, not necessarily to book new clients, which hopefully that will just occur organically, but you're using social media to gain emails. So you're not asking them to, hey, book this right now on Instagram, right? Instead, you're saying, hey, you know, you offer them something, whether that's, I could offer you, I don't like to say affordable, but this is just like an example. Don't take it word for word, because I have this thing where I don't like to say budget travel or affordable travel. Now that is a niche if that's what you want to do, but I've just trained my mind so much not to use those words that it was hard for me to say that. But you offer them something, right? So a lead magnet basically is what it is. And I think I talked about this in my last video, is that you want to use social media to gain leads. So offer them your lead magnet so that you can market to them through emails, okay? So that's, I'm trying to think, is there anything else I would say about effectively marketing your social media? You want to have like a brand style, can't think of the word I'm looking for, but you want to represent your brand professionally. So before you even start marketing your business, you want to have your business color, your brand colors, your brand fonts, your logo, all that stuff you want to have. And you don't have to spend money to do all this, y'all. You can go on Canva and make you a logo starting out, okay? You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars to get like this really high-tech logo and all of that. I just don't think that's necessary as far as this business goes. So you just want your brand to present itself professionally whenever you're marketing too. All right, so we got a few more questions. What are the best tools and resources for travel agents? So there's actually quite a few things. I'm just going to give y'all some of the things that I use. So, and I made a video, and I'm going to leave a link to these below, but I've already made a video about some of them. Cognito Forms is one, especially if you don't have like your own website that allows you to create forms within it. Cognito Forms is an option for you. The main thing that I use in my business is my CRM. I have one on my website, my website is through Wix, but TraveyJoy is a CRM that's made for the travel industry. Great tool to have. It does a lot. You can pretty much run your whole business inside of TraveyJoy. So that's definitely a tool. Let me think of some more. Obviously Canva for creating graphics, just, social media, all that kind of things. Canva is a great one. I also use Photoshop just because I've used Adobe for years now, so I'm familiar with it. But so if you do know how to use Photoshop, then it's a great tool. And the Adobe Premiere Pro too, which is the video software, is also a really great tool if you know how to use it. And then CapCut is another one. So for making reels on social media, or whether that's TikToks, whatever, the vertical video on the phone, CapCut does a great job for editing it on the phone. And they actually have a desktop version too. What else do I use in my business? Trello is something that I use in my business. That's how I stay organized. It's pretty much how I plan out my business, whether that's emails, social media posts, these YouTube videos. Trello is where I use to just like organize everything and keep everything, in one place. Is there any other ones that I want to tell you about? Oh, obviously ChatGPT, great to use. I think I mentioned that in my last video. And if you don't know what it is, just type in ChatGPT into YouTube, and there's going to be like 1,000 videos that you can learn about how to use ChatGPT. Okay, so let me make sure I'm still recording. Yeah. How do I find clients? We answered that. Best tools. Okay, next question. How do I set pricing for my travel services? So this is a lot to talk about. So for instance, if you are independent, so you're operating on your own, no host agency, then you have the freedom to charge whatever you want, right? If you work under a host agency, well, at least my host agency, you can still charge whatever you want, but you still have to run those payments through the host so they can get their little cut, But when it comes to pricing your services, I would say there are people who do quotes for free, and you will get clients that say, oh, well, I use this travel agent. Okay, so my camera cut off, so I'm just gonna keep talking. So you will have clients who say, well, I use so-and-so and they didn't charge me a planning fee or anything like that. And you just tell them, I understand, but that's just not, this is how I operate my business. And then you explain what the travel fee is for. And so what I normally say is I break down everything that I do whenever I'm servicing somebody and planning their trip. So I'm doing all of the research for you. I'm creating a professional and aesthetically pleasing. That's not really important, but the research is the main part. And then I'm condensing this down so that it's digestible for you. I'm sharing my professional expertise with you, my experience, my insider knowledge, the contact and vendors that I have, the perks and things like that the resort is going to give you as a travel agent. You have access to all of that, and that's what you're allowing them to have access to. So they're paying for more than just, oh, can you look up these rates for me? You're paying for my professional service. You're paying for my knowledge and everything that goes along with it. So that being said, I would not and you know what? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to tell you what to price your services at. That's your call, right? Nobody can really put a number on your value other than yourself. So if you feel like, right out the gate, you know it, you on your stuff, then charge what you feel like you should charge. I'm not going to give you a parameter on that. That's up to you. And that's where people kind of hold themselves back. They try to, what is so-and-so charging? No, charge what you think you're worth. Do the numbers. If you want this to be your full-time thing, what do you need to sustain your family or to sustain your lifestyle? And then how many bookings do you need a month? Like, you got to do the numbers when it comes to like pricing, things like that. Okay, moving on. We just got a few more. How do I handle cancellations or challenges to travel arrangements? So I'm going to tell you what I do, because this channel, I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just telling you what I do. So what I do is that when somebody wants to cancel, there's a few things you need to make sure you do. If somebody doesn't buy travel insurance, when they're booking right at the beginning, and I'll ask, I have this all in my processes, they'll let me know if they want travel insurance included or not. If they say no, I send a separate form that they have to e-sign, saying that they decline travel insurance, and then they understand what that means. So that means any money you put down, you're not going to get it back. So they have to acknowledge that on that form. And then, so I have that right off the jump, right? So that's right when they book. And then say later down the line, they decide that they want to cancel. Okay, I then send another form saying that they are requesting a cancellation. So it's a cancellation request form, and I have them fill that out, because in the event that I cancel their vacation and they say, oh, well, I was just inquiring about canceling, I didn't necessarily want you to actually cancel my vacation. I have them, or I'm not even that I require them to complete the cancellation request form. And like I said, I use TraveyJoy for a lot of this, so it makes it so easy. And so they'll have to complete that before I will go in and cancel their vacation. So even if they told me, hey, yeah, I'm for sure, I want to cancel, whatever. Okay, I said, okay, I'll let them know, hey, I'm going to send you a cancellation request. Please complete it before I can cancel your vacation. And if they take, it's been like 3 days or whatever, I'll follow up. Hey, just want to let you know I haven't been able to process your cancel vacation yet because you haven't completed the form. Please complete it in order to have your vacation canceled, right? So that's one of the things that I make sure I do when it comes to cancellations. Any changes to travel arrangements? That was another part of the question. A lot of that stuff just comes with calling the vendor, and the vendor will take care of most of it for you. Like, I use Vax to book a lot of my trips. That's just the one that I got familiar with first. I know a lot of people use Vacation Express. And Vacation Express, it seems like they offer more, especially the more trips that you book. But I don't know. I got used to Vax first, and I just like it. So that's what I'm sticking to right now. Okay, next question. What are the legal requirements for running a travel agency? So I'm not going to give you legal advice. Always consult a lawyer for legal requirements for what you should have in your terms and conditions. You want that on your website, but all those things you need to go through a lawyer so that way they're giving you the correct information, and then the information that is relevant to your state and where you operate, because you want to be covered in all sense, even like with the waivers when people are traveling, all that stuff. You need that as part of your business so that you protect yourself, and then also making sure that you get errors and omission insurance. Now, the travel hosts, they do have some sort of insurance, but I don't think it covers you fully. So it's recommended, and my host even my host told us as soon as we signed up, when you sign up, they'll let you know that you need to get your own insurance as well. What's the next question? How do I protect my clients' personal and financial information? So this is a good one. So don't have me lying on here, y'all. I don't remember the word for it or the term. You just have to do the research. And if I find it, I'll leave some documents to it so you can read about it in the description. But the gist of it is that you have to operate on systems that are like secured and not secured. I don't know, I can't think of what it's called or the term that they use for that. But when it comes to like credit card information and all that stuff, it's like certain parameters that whatever you're using has to have. And a lot of it is like when you go on something, like even when you're booking these trips, and TraveyJoy has this, that's why I use it, where, you know, if somebody puts their card information in there, it's like secured in a way to that if somebody was just to look at your system or was to, you know, look at your computer screen, it would only show like the last 4 digits. So whatever that's called, to where like credit card information is not necessarily visible right off the bat. That's what's required by law whenever you are collecting people's payment and their personal information. In TraveyJoy, it allows you have to put in a password in order to access each person's credit card information. So it's just making sure that the site is secured, and you should be okay if you're using something like that. You just want to make sure that you're not using like Google Docs or something like that, you know, just plugging people's credit card information into like Google spreadsheets and things like that. Unless you know how to, what is the word? It's not script. What is the word I'm looking for? Unless you know how to encrypt, that's what I'm talking about. Unless you know how to encrypt the information, then you need to use a system that does that for you. Alrighty. Let's see. How can I provide excellent customer service as a travel agent? I would say there's a lot that you can do. So just a few. I would say to have excellent customer service is to, one, have your business hours available on your website and on your social media so that people know when you are reachable, right? So if they message you at 8 o'clock at night and they don't receive a response, it's not really a big deal because it's not your business hours and they can see that. But you always want to respond as quickly as you can, typically within 1 to 2 business days, to emails or inquiries, things like that. Like even if you're backed up on trip requests, you can just, you know, shoot them an email. Hey, you know, thanks for reaching out. We've received your request. Please allow us so and so days, you know, to complete this or whatever, you know, just making sure that you're responding to people, that you are being professional with people, that you are, you know, not changing the price on people. There's a lot of different things that you're basically just being, you're running your business on honesty. I feel like that's the best customer service you can provide. Obviously being friendly and personable, and just being honest. So let's see here. I think we're down to just like 4 more questions. Where was I at? What are the biggest challenges facing travel agents today? I would say, if I had to say just one of them, I would say the online booking systems. So that's like booking.com, Expedia, TripAdvisor, like those platforms, I think can be travel agents' biggest challenge, because a lot of people, since, you know, we are in the, you know, age of the internet, feel like they can go and book their own vacation, and they can. Most people can. So the biggest challenge that you're going to have as a travel agent is convincing your value to people, and not like indirectly doing this. Like, you know, you're speaking to someone and you have to be like, okay, well, this is why you should use me. Now, there are times when you should do that, right? But what I mean is that your content should do that for you. So what you're posting on social media, what you're sending out in your email list should be educating people on the difference between you and a booking system. And not like just saying it bluntly, but showing them, hey, you know, when booking with a travel agent, you know, this is what you're getting, or providing them value in the sense of, you know, what are the top things you should do when you go to Jamaica, or, you know, giving them those different tips and things that they wouldn't know otherwise, because, you know, just booking on an online booking system is not going to give them that personal touch. It's not going to give them the actual experience of somebody who's been there and done it. So I think one of the biggest challenges is definitely you're going to have to overcome a lot of your clients, I guess, like familiarity with using online booking systems, and getting them to transition to you. And once you do that, they usually will stick with you as long as you do a good job, right? But once you convince them and they see how easy, how beneficial it is to work with a travel agent, and just kind of like how you take the pressure and all of that frustration off of booking for them, then they'll stick with you after that. How can I stay up to date with industry trends and changes? Research. And I'll leave some of the blogs and websites that I use to like catch up on different things, and they usually send me like a lot of emails too. So I'll usually like skim through my emails every day just to see if there's something that pertains to what I'm doing in my business, just to stay up to date with that. And then another thing I'll say is to join Facebook groups. So there are Facebook groups that are, you know, maybe it's catered to the Caribbean, or maybe it's catered to cruises. Like, be a part of those groups so that you are part of a community of people who are sharing and exchanging different information with each other. Okay, last two questions. How do I deal with competition from other travel agents? You don't. Like, focus on your business. Sell what you're selling, and you don't need to deal with the competition. You need to just figure out what you want to sell, figure out what's going to make you different than what's already out there, and then just run your business, right? Post on your social medias. Don't necessarily worry about what the competition is doing. Like, you can do research now. I'm not saying don't research, because you should do that, especially in the beginning, and just see, okay, well, what's out there, so that you can make sure that you offer something different and that you make whatever you're doing look different than what everybody else is doing, right? If you just go out there and do what everybody else is doing, then you're not really going to be successful, because everybody else is already doing that. But if you change what you're doing, and that applies to anything that you're doing, if you have something different to offer, then you are meeting a need or closing a gap, while everybody else is just seeing what the next person is doing. Okay, and then last question. What are some strategies for growing and expanding my travel agency? So I'm just going to give you a few, because some of these is just repetitive. Social media. Actually it says, what are some strategies for growing? I would say one strategy definitely is Reels. I'm not on TikTok, but a lot of people do have success with TikTok. I just haven't taken it on yet. I'm thinking about it, but I'm really sticking to my two platforms. And so definitely a strategy would be Reels, growing your business through social media, whether that's Reels or TikTok. Another one, the lead generator. So find out what you want to offer them, what kind of free downloadable or free training. Maybe you want to do like a free consultation call, something like that. Like, what do you want to offer people in order to get their emails, so that you can have more leads? Because you want your leads to operate on automatic, right? You don't want to have to go out and, okay, well, I need to go find 5 people to reach out to me or to work with me this week. You want the leads to be working on autopilot, so that as they're coming in, you are working on closing them. And so it removes that step of having to actively go out there and get leads, so that you can keep running your business like more smoothly, if that makes sense. And then let me see if I have another one for y'all. What are some strategies? Definitely the leads, definitely social media. If you know how to do YouTube, I would say YouTube. If you can figure out YouTube, then do YouTube, because it's a great tool to have. And I use it, obviously. So definitely YouTube. I think those are the main ones. Definitely leads. You can't run a business without your leads. So yeah, that's what I got for y'all. Now that's the last question. So I'm going to wrap up this video now. I hope you guys enjoyed the question and answer. Let me know down below if this was helpful at all, or if you got no value out of this. Let me know that too, so I'll know to do something different next time. And so my next video, I'm thinking about doing a how to become a travel agent, basically like a series. And so I'll just break down the different things that I think are important when it comes to becoming a travel agent. So stay tuned for that, and let me know if that's something you're interested in too. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.